guys, Yoongi here, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to have a bit more of an in-depth look at some disbanded K-pop girl groups that I would bring back and why. I don't know if any of my usual disclaimers would apply to this video. I don't think anything I am saying should be taken as offense, but if so, please note that I am not intending to send any hate to any artist or individual at any point during this video or any of my other uploads. And of course, I know all these are just hypothetical things I would like to see in my opinion. That doesn't always mean that it's the best for these things to happen. Of course, we won't always know the real reason why some groups disband, and it's probably better off that way, to be honest. So maybe the groups that I'm talking about that I think would be great to bring back, maybe it's the worst thing they could ever imagine. We'll never really know. Before we get into the groups that I have included in this video, I want to actually talk about two groups that I was going to include that I have now decided against and why. The first of these is Neon Punch, that some of you may remember were only around for some short time. They actually re-debuted as the group, I'm gonna butcher this name, XUM. I'm not sure if it's just pronounced as XUM or Zoom, but they are a three-member group that three of the members have now re-debuted as. The other group that I was going to mention that I am not doing is Bulldog, who again were only around for a short time. I think they only had one song if I remember rightly, and it's not even on Spotify anymore. Three of the members of that group have actually now re-debuted as part of the girl group Peace. So the main reason I haven't included these in the main video is because I don't want to show any disrespect towards these new groups that are now debuting. Now onto the groups we are actually going to include in this video. The first disbanded K-pop girl group that I would personally like to bring back is Nine Muses. Debuting in 2010 under Star Empire Entertainment, their original debut wasn't actually very successful, so they ended up coming back with a new lineup and single, which actually got them into the Billboard Top 100. I know, complete ton of events. The image they're best known for is probably like more of their sexy, mature concept. They kind of remind me of like the AOA of their time, if that makes sense. Yeah, I know, we won't go there. We're not gonna go there. As with a lot of groups, things weren't exactly always smooth sailing. Before their eventual disbandment in 2019, they did have a few lineup changes, and in terms of popularity, they always seemed to be quite there or thereabouts, but never quite over the edge into major success. South Korean media actually labelled the group a Nadellen group, as well as other groups such as Dalshabet and Rainbow. It basically means a group that has all the conditions for success, but none of the look of more popular groups. Of course, there could be a variety of reasons for this, but it does just feel like such a shame. The girls definitely had the potential, the stage presence, the concepts to be more successful, but they never quite got it. To be fair, I don't know a lot about the company that we're under, if maybe they weren't getting marketed to their full potential. Their earlier years as a group was before my time as a K-pop fan, but I do remember having friends who were fans of them for a really long time and always felt really bad for them not doing better. I do believe that they had what it takes to be successful, so I would wonder if bringing them back to the modern day and age, because there's not really many people in the mature, sexy concept anymore, maybe it would give them the chance that they deserved. The second group I want to include in this video, I am well aware, is probably just a selfish addition, but hey, it's my video. So that group is 2NE1. Of course, the members all seem happy and content with what they are doing now, so this might be one of those ones where they probably even wouldn't want to come back. I don't really know. But for those who aren't aware, 2NE1 debuted in 2009 under YG Entertainment and were active until their official disbandment in 2016. I won't go too much into their history because I think everyone knows they are one of the biggest K-pop girl groups of all time. They were not short of success, let's just say that. And for me personally, they were the group that actually got me into K-pop. Aside from bopping to Gangnam Style like everybody else in 2012, it was actually 2NE1's Gotta Be You in 2014 which brought me to where we are today. I hadn't been standing them for long before they seemed to disappear, and before we knew it they were releasing Goodbye, and that was it basically. Honestly, I would love to have them back in the industry. Selfishly, I didn't really get to enjoy 2NE1 promoting much in their time active, and I just don't feel like anybody doing their concept now is giving me that same vibe that 2NE1 used to. The next group I want to talk about bringing back is Hinapia, if I haven't butchered that name as well. Honourable formally debuted with their first single, Drip, in November 2019 under OSR Entertainment. For those who aren't as familiar with them, 4 of the members were actually previous members of Pristin. Honourable were the 11th South Korean girl group to appear on the World Digital Singles Chart with their debut, Drip. They peaked at 18, and I think there was a huge buzz around the group's debut because it contained members of Pristin, who we all know had been done so dirty by their company. People wanted Honourable to succeed because it's what the girls deserved. And things seemed to be going really great when they debuted. However, as soon as August 2020, so not even a year later, it was announced that the girls were going to be disbanding and their contracts had been terminated after the company had promised that they were preparing for a comeback earlier in the year. I can't even imagine how disheartened the girls and their fans must have felt to go through this time and time again, especially when things seem to be going well. It's not fair. I understand these companies have issues, but it's so unprofessional to suddenly just drop a group out of nowhere. They were another group that was showing so much potential and it was just not fully explored. And people were devastated because how can you re-debut with this group that seems to have the perfect concept, the perfect image, the perfect talent, and then just drop them? Next up, let's talk about Secret. Secret were a girl group under, get this, TS Entertainment. Yeah, I know. Hey, if we're gonna bring them back, I would make sure it's under a completely different label. Anyone's gotta be better than TS. They were formed in 2009 and were active until 2018, so for quite a while, it was almost 10 years. They were actually doing really well in their earlier days. They were consecutively winning on music shows week after week at some points, and debuting in Japan. They had the perfect mix between like a retro but also feminine sexy concept. I'm sure it comes as no surprise, especially with them being under TS Entertainment, that their careers weren't always nice and steady. There were hiatuses, member departures, and eventually lawsuits, where their company had violated some of the members' contracts, from things such as unpaid earnings to transferring management rights of the girls without their consent first. These lawsuits ultimately led to the end of the group, which is really sad because I don't think they were quite done, and under a different, better company that was better managed, these lawsuits would have never even happened, and the group would have just carried on, I think. Their concept was really great for K-pop, because not many groups were doing it, especially not to the level of success that they were. It's a shame that a lot of newer stans won't get to appreciate Secret and their concept that they were doing. This next one, I'm sure some people will remember because it was very much a case of, what the heck happened there? This is about The Ark. The Ark were a group formed by Music K Entertainment, and they debuted in 2015, but actually disbanded only a year later. Their debut track, The Light, actually did so well for a debut, with around 6.7 million views to date today. And a lot of people will remember this video because, trigger warning for mentions of death, but it was basically about a student who had a really caring mother that she probably didn't appreciate enough, and then suddenly the student daughter passes away, and the mother is basically left all alone. It was a super sad video, and a lot of people were anticipating what the girls would do next from this song doing so well, because they seem to have a really unique image and concept where, even though it was not like we hadn't seen this kind of group before, it was rare for a group to debut with such a touching music video. However, after their debut, they seemed to disappear, and then before we knew it, their disbandment was being announced in 2016. It was later revealed by one of the members, Una Kim, in 2017 that there were problems within the company, so their debut wasn't very good anyway. Crazy, because I thought it did really well, but I guess not by the company's standards. Then their main vocalist had to leave the group due to medical reasons, and they disbanded when they eventually couldn't find another vocalist. It's such a shame because this group had so much unexplored potential. They were literally brand new, and I do wonder if their fate would have been different if they had found another main vocal and been able to make a comeback. Of course, we don't know what route the group would have gone down, but it's just a shame that now we'll never know, especially when there is so much anticipation around what the group would do next. I do feel really bad for them and the small fan base that they seem to have made at the time, because people were so eager to see what they would do next. So I do actually think their comeback would have done well, but it's a pity that we'll never know. The next disbanded K-pop girl group that I would like to bring back is Speaker. Speaker that is another group who I feel were always there or thereabouts, but never got quite the recognition they deserved. Speaker debuted in 2012 under B2M Entertainment. They worked a lot with fellow label mate, none other than the Lee Hyori. She was even in their debut music video, which of course spiked a lot of interest in them and whatever they were going to do next. In 2014, the girls actually partnered with Billboard to release an English single, which they got to debut at KCON, and they were labeled by Ryan Book of the Music Times as being a very Beyonce attitude, expressing themes of female empowerment with pop music, which I completely understood because there was an air of soul around them, which I don't think anybody else was quite replicating in the industry, especially not to the same standard that they were. And it was really exciting to see a K-pop girl group showing this in the West. Their song You Don't Love Me is still one of my favorites and was so underrated, much like a lot of the things they did. But it didn't seem long before all the OSTs and collabs and singing contests dried up and the girls were suddenly on a 2-year hiatus. When they eventually came back in 2016, it was still only with a digital single. It didn't really make sense because the group seemed to go from doing well and starting to work overseas to nothing. And then the group disbanded in 2017, just when they seemed to be coming back better than ever. I will, to be fair, end this one by saying I don't think all hope is lost because the group themselves have already said that they would like to come back someday. So I think there's a potential it could happen, even if it was like a special performance and not much more. They have even actually performed a reunion stage in 2019, and two of the members, Kim Boa and Kim Bo Hyung, even formed a duo which you may know named Kimbo. So fingers crossed we'll get more well-deserved speaker content someday, because I'd love to see them getting the credit for being one of the original leaders in their concept and the whole retro soul influence being introduced to K-pop, because I don't think they're getting the credit for that. And last but not least for this video, I think I've saved the biggest for last, and that is Gugudan. I think this is the one that hit most people more recently, and hopefully a lot of people will agree that this is one that we should definitely bring back, because I didn't even stan them to the extent of like being a member of their fandom, but even I felt awful for them. Gugudan debuted in 2016 under Jellyfish Entertainment and were announced as disbanded officially at the very end of 2020 after a lot of unusual behaviour, let's just say that. A 2-year hiatus being the biggest hint, to be honest. Gugudan debuted containing 2 members of the group IOI, and their label Jellyfish were home to none other than the likes of VIX, and this was going to be their first girl group, so it's not like nobody knew who the company was. Of course, this debut was much anticipated, and you could see that in a result of the girls' work. The group had a few different concepts and images, but were doing really well with all of them, and built quite a solid fan base. Although, of course, throughout this time, there were member hiatuses, the usual kind of things that happen in groups, but to be honest, they always seem to be for genuine justifiable reasons, such as recovery from injury. Their final single, also in 2018, before their eventual disbandment, was titled Not That Type, and saw the girls take on a bit of a different concept for them, but it was one that really suited them and got a lot of people who hadn't even noticed the group before to look into them. It looked like a really great route for the girls to go on in future. Anyone with any sort of management skills would have seen that. Unfortunately, we never got to see this potential explored because that was when the girls' 2-year hiatus began before their eventual disbandment. A lot of people often speak of how the girls' talent and potential were completely wasted, and of course a lot of this blame has been put on the company because they should have recognised the potential that the girls had. One of the members, Sally, actually spoke out about her hardships while being a member of the group and said in 2019 the label actually told her to go home. She's originally from China, and when she asked them when she should return, they told her basically not to bother. She also said the rest of the members were also kicked out of the dorm and told to go home, and after some resistance they eventually packed up their belongings and left. This was all happening before their disbandment was announced, so it kind of felt like the inevitable when it was finally revealed, but of course that doesn't make it any less sad for the girls and their fans because this should have never have come to this. Everybody knows the girls had so much potential and they were literally just finding that one concept that worked so well for them that everyone wanted to see them pursue, and then that was it. Just like that, they were gone and they were dropped. And it's horrible because they did deserve better. Also, oh my god guys, while I was writing the script for this video, no word of a lie, I wish I could prove it, but I obviously can't. I had my Spotify playing in the background and Not That Type by Gugudan came on shuffle. It kind of felt like someone was watching me. That's crazy. But yeah, I would love to bring back a group like Gugudan and get them to explore that concept that they had already started because it's the very least they deserve. Okay guys, and that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you got this far. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments down below if you did, and your thoughts on these groups, and if there are any girl groups or boy groups that you would like to bring back yourself as well, and why. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you aren't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be the first to hear whenever I upload. I would really appreciate it so much. As always, my Twitter username will be on screen. It's just the same as my name here, Dear Yoongi. I always follow back fellow K-pop stans, so if you want to give that a follow and drop me a message, you're more than welcome. And I will see you next time. Bye guys!